Hey, what's up guys, my name is Charlie. Today we're going to be doing some more requested reaction videos, and this video is requested by Wario Land Gold Pyramid, and it's going to be the making of Superman 64. Someone needs to be fired for making me react to this. The story behind the creation of the worst Nintendo 64 game of all time. I can think of someone who's the worst person of all time for requesting this video. But yes, it's going to be the making of Superman 64, the story behind the creation of the worst Nintendo 64 game of all time. Doesn't that roll off right off the tongue? But no, seriously, let's embrace ourselves with this one, because I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the 64 levels of hell. This is truly gonna be 64 layers of flavored ice cream. But yeah, let's dive into this madness, and let's see what this all is about, because I tell you, Superman 64 it is truly a unique specimen, to say the least. It's truly an incredible sort of specimen. It's remarkable. It's truly a remarkable specimen, and it's an incredible video game that everyone should play, because it's just that goddamn great. I mean, just flying through rings, it truly demonstrates just how great this game is, because all you do is fly through fucking hoops and rings for never-ending fucking rings. You just gotta admire it. You just gotta admire the never-ending madness. But yeah, let's the psychological damage it can do to you. But yes, check out this video, shall we? Let's go.
And has been featured in dozens of video games dating all the way back to the Atari 2600, where he made his first officially licensed debut in 1978. As technology and video game consoles evolved, so did the depth, complexity, and in most cases, the quality of Superman titles. Superman: The New Adventures, or as it's more commonly referred to, Superman 64, wasn't set to be released until 1999, but Eric Kahn, the founder of its developer Titus Software, had already begun hyping up the game in interviews the year before its release. Superman 64 was previewed at 1998's E3, and afterwards, many expected a critically acclaimed
Titus.
hit. Instead,
Titus.
1999's Superman 64 turned out to be one of the most poorly reviewed games of the year,
No shit.
if not all time. So how did a very publicly previewed game fall so short of everyone's expectations?
So all you do is fly through fucking rings.
How Warner Brothers and a French video game developer digitally depowered the Man of Steel. This is the story behind the making of Superman 64, quite possibly the worst Nintendo 64 game of all time.
Fucking rings.
According to Eric Kahn, Superman 64's life began when the company heard rumblings from their LA office that Warner Brothers was preparing a new animated series based on Superman. Eric decided to try to obtain the licensing rights for Titus to create a new Superman game, even though he didn't think they would be able to do so. Kahn said, "They asked me 3 times if I was sure of what I was doing. No one else was interested enough in Superman to do a video game about it." Kahn supervised the development of 3 Superman games, each on a separate console: the Nintendo 64, the Game Boy, and the PlayStation.
Of course.
Though that version would never see the light of day. Kahn wanted to develop a 3D open-world game in which Superman could do more than just fight enemies. Superman would be able to
fly through fucking
literally
rings
anywhere, and the game would also include each one of his superpowers, as well as various ways to use them against enemies and in conjunction with the environment. It was an ambitious undertaking that would push the Nintendo 64 to its limits and required the patience and trust from DC and Warner Brothers. But Kahn was used to dreaming big. At 19 years of age, he gave up his college education to gamble on founding Titus Software with his brother, and here he was, 14 years later, beginning development on a game for one of the most iconic and beloved comic book characters of all time.
Oh yes, the
During
most expensive comic.
for the Superman license,
First one.
Eric had fostered a strong relationship with the Warner Brothers licensing team. Creatively and professionally, Superman 64 was set up for success. Then, shortly after their deal was signed, the team that had worked to bring Titus Software the rights to Superman was fired. In a 2015 interview, Kahn said, "The next people in charge hated us the first minute they saw us and our project. They believed that major companies such as EA Games would pay more and create a better product. And that's when the trouble began." Titus Software may not have been as big as EA Games, but that's not to say that they weren't a competent and experienced developer. They had already released over 30 games prior to Superman 64, including a few other licensed properties. Unfortunately, The people that Titus would be working with from Warner Brothers going forward either didn't know of Titus' history in the gaming industry or just didn't care. Titus wanted to create a large, open world for Superman to fly through and battle enemies in. Warner Brothers, on the other hand, wanted Titus to change the game from an action-adventure game to a SimCity-like game in which Superman would take on the role of the mayor of Metropolis. Khan dismissed that idea, and while he may have won that battle, Warner Brothers were about to start the war.
Oh boy.
Warner Brothers seemingly questioned every idea the developer had and micromanaged the project to the point where it seemed that they were deliberately trying to slow down development of the game. It took months just to get each character that they wanted to use approved. Warner Brothers would frequently say that Superman would never do that, when arguing decisions that Khan and his team had made for Superman in the game. Titus found themselves in the strange position of having to prove things like Superman's ability to swim through water as easily as he can fly through the air by providing Warner Brothers with Superman comic book references, including the year, issue, and page number. The meddling even affected the overall plot of the game. You see, Superman 64 doesn't take place in the real Metropolis. Instead, it takes place in a virtual version of it that Lex Luthor created to trap Lois Lane and others inside of, and it's up to Superman to save them. So why didn't Titus just have Luthor trap Superman's friends in the real Metropolis? Why did they create this weird, convoluted virtual reality plot in which Superman has to fly through rings and collect some of his powers in order to use them?
Who
Eric
fucking
Kahn
knows?
explained that Warner Brothers didn't want Superman to beat up quote-unquote real people, despite the fact that Superman had been doing so for decades in comic books, movies, and would continue doing so in the upcoming Superman animated
Well, I want to
series
play video
that
games for
Warner Brothers
violence, not to
themselves
fly through
were
fucking
producing.
rings.
Warner Brothers also took issue with Superman having the ability to destroy so much of the game's environment, arguing that Superman couldn't, quote, act as a bad person, and that's how the idea for a virtual metropolis came to be. Here, any cars, walls, or people that Superman might destroy wouldn't be real. This may have satisfied Warner Brothers, but the time that it took to make these changes only served to take time away from other areas of the game's development, and it would show. Titus had promised large, expansive levels
Man
that
of Steel.
Superman would
Man
be
of
able to
shit.
fly around.
Man of
When
shit
Superman
makes
64
history.
was released, the majority of the levels were small and didn't even require flying. The infamous flying ring tutorial levels do put
Oh
Superman's
please, no,
son
not
front
the
and center,
fucking rings.
but the
Get,
full
stop showing the
controls make
rings.
what should have been one of the best parts of the game,
Purple Barney
Superman's ability
fucking
to
purple
fly, a
binging
tedious task
flying
at
ring
best.
world.
Khan has stated that the rings were always supposed to be in the game, but not to the extent or repetitive nature in which they appeared in the final product. The rest of the game didn't fare much better. Fog was used to mask the fact that the game wasn't optimized to let the Nintendo 64 have much of a draw distance for the environment. It's also easy for Superman to get stuck on buildings, go through walls, and even get stuck in the floor. In short, it was full of bugs.
Yeah.
Eric blames the majority of the glitches and other problems with Superman 64 squarely on Warner Brothers. In an interview with Playboy, he said, "We lost too much time answering Warner Brothers and DC's concerns and weird ideas. With more time to focus on the game's development and its playability, we could have improved the controls and made a better game at the end." The constant retooling required by Warner Brothers led to Titus missing the original marketing deadline by 6 months. It's safe to say that Warner Brothers' constant interference and strange requirements were the main reason why Superman 64 turned out to be one of the worst Nintendo 64 games of all time. In spite of all of the issues that it had during its development, portions of the game shown at E3 1998 were positively received, and
Titus, or
Superman
Titus.
64 was still a highly anticipated title.
Titus have always
The
been
reason for
strong
the
on Nintendo.
anticipation wasn't just innocent fan
Superman
interest
is
for a
here.
fully 3D Superman title.
Uh.
You see, as villainous as Khan and Titus Software have portrayed Warner Brothers to be, they weren't exactly innocent themselves. Eric Khan has made it clear in numerous interviews that Warner Brothers interfered and hampered Superman 64's development from the very beginning. Yet, in interviews as late as May of 1998, about 3 months before the game would be finished, Khan spoke about the complexity of the collision system and background interaction and destruction elements of the game engine, all the while knowing that Superman would be in a largely indestructible virtual metropolis full of collision glitches. He stated that optimizations would be completed so that the game could run over 20 frames per second, but those optimizations never came. He downplayed the restrictive nature of some levels when it came to flying, and touted being able to use all of Superman's powers, even though you wouldn't really have them to use at your disposal whenever you wanted. He described the game as really original and really cool to play. Now, to be fair, Eric was in a tough spot. He knew Superman 64 wasn't going to be a great game, but as the head of its developer, he couldn't exactly go out and publicize its issues in interviews. However, that doesn't make some of the statements he and Titus made about the game any less misleading, particularly when so many of those statements were made so close to the game being finished.
Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen have been kidnapped.
Jimmy
Who will
Olsen.
save the day?
Who will save the day? Who really do? And this is
Powers are yours.
all powers to fly through rings.
Super speed, super
Super shit, stupid,
super
bullshit. Super.
Early and receive a DC Comics Collector's Edition Superman comic.
What a load of bullshit this was.
The New Adventures video game.
What a farce. What a
Incredibly,
bullshit.
Superman 64 was a financial success, selling over 500,000 copies. Titus had also previously released the commercially successful Superman title for the Game Boy in 1997, and had a PlayStation Superman title on the horizon, the development of which they farmed out to Blue Sky Software. The PlayStation version was about 90% complete when, according to Khan, its release was blocked by Sony and Warner Brothers. But that's not exactly what happened. In fact, Sony had already issued a product code for the game and retailers were already taking pre-orders. What actually happened is that Titus' license simply expired towards the very end of development and they weren't able to reach a new agreement with Warner Brothers. It's probably fair to say that if Warner Brothers hadn't constantly interfered in Superman 64's development, Titus would likely have had the license long enough to release Superman for the PlayStation. Supposedly, Warner Brothers expected Titus Software to file a lawsuit over the cancellation of the PlayStation title and had even begun taking steps to have a settlement offer ready. The lawsuit never came. What did come were years of negative reviews, internet memes, and a distinct honor of being placed on many worst games list. So, there you have it, the short and strange tale of the development of Superman 64. Warner Brothers made creating Superman 64 hell for Titus Software.
Hell for us
Titus,
as
for their
well.
part, misled the public regarding the game's features up to
And
the
we had
very
to
end,
suffer for it.
cashing in on the hype and anticipation that they fabricated. So ultimately, the story of Superman 64 is a Superman story with no heroes, except for those gamers courageous enough to sit through and play it to the end.
In short time, your fate
Bit
will
like
be
Fallout
sealed,
76.
Superman.
Thank you so much for watching.
You gotta be brave
If
to
you
play
like
that
this
game.
video and want to see more like it, please do consider subscribing and check out my gaming documentaries playlist. I post a new documentary about every 1 to 2 weeks. If you'd like to help my little channel grow, please consider sharing this video on Reddit or other social media. But again, most importantly, thank you for watching.
Okay, that's very interesting, very painful, very excruciating. This was just painful. That was the making of Superman 64, the story behind the creation of the worst Nintendo 64 game of all time, and it gave us a little bit of a history. Not that I really want to care about Superman 64, because I really do want to forget about this game. I really want to move forward with my life and not reflect on this terrible video game. Because I tell you, I no matter how many times I close my eyes, I truly do see fucking rings. The fucking rings. I know I keep, but it really is a goddamn abysmal game. And I remember getting so frustrated and angry and just throwing my Nintendo 64 controller. And up is down and down is up and left is right and right is left. I mean, it's just all fucked up. I hated that as a kid. It just fucks with your brain. I've never been able to get past the first goddamn stage. I really don't want to play this game ever again because it's truly atrocious. The making of Superman 64, this video, very interesting, very fascinating. I'm only saying that because I really don't hope to ever watch this again, and that's as far as it goes. we're never watching this ever again, so thankfully we've gotten through it. And it wasn't that traumatizing because I've been traumatized so many times that my brain has literally liquefied into 64 levels of liquid. That's how much damage my brain. I've got 64 levels of trauma, it's obviously done a lot of damage to my brain. I've become resilient with 64 levels of abuse. But yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, if you like this video, make sure to give a like, comment down below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.